Hi, my name is Newell Davis with World Composting, and today we're going to harvest the Vermibag Max that I have. So I've been running it for about 10 months now. I started it back in May of last year, and it's March, so we're going to harvest it, we're going to see how it's doing, and we're going to probably add some more food to it and keep it going here. So I've been adding some coffee grounds in the food, but not too much, and I haven't been watering it quite as much, so things kind of dry out a little bit more. And we're going to check the top of the bin here first, and then we're going to go down and look at the bottom and start harvesting it and see how it looks. So let's take a look at the bin. So here is our bin right here. Let's just rotate this a little bit. So zippers on the side. Let's see if we have in here. So I'm not seeing any bugs. It is a little dry in here. As I said, I haven't been adding too much water lately. There's a bunch of worms up here, it looks like. Let's just pull some of these coffee grounds away. I have some bread in here. This has some mold on it. This is some veggie pulp that I probably threw in here at some point. No odor to the bin at all. No worries there. It's very dry though. As I said, I haven't been watering it. There are worms way up here though by this pulp. Let me, if you can see. You can see that there's nice healthy worms in here. So they're doing well. Some of them have migrated up a little bit. Others probably are not past the layer of paper. So we're going to just kind of dig down in here a little bit. We're going to throw this off to the side here. I'm going to water this after I do all this so everything will be nice and moist in here. So we're just going to kind of come over here. We're just going to kind of dig a little bit. It feels a little bit warm. In fact, you know what? Like, give me a second here. I'm just going to grab a temperature gauge. So this is an instant on temperature gauge that I have here. So let's just give a second here to turn on. Reference, the bag is 62 degrees. It's kind of cool in my basement right now. It's winter outside. We're supposed to get snow today. And let's just point it down here at the compost. It says 65. So it is a little bit warmer. So let's just dig down a little bit more and see if it warms up any more. Feels very compacted down in here. Look at this. It feels like it almost feels like I wonder if there's some sort of mold or something that's growing through here. You can see there's plenty of worms in here. There's some worms right here along the side. It feels like there's a root system in here. I don't know if something was growing in here or what, but it feels like there's roots that I'm ripping apart here. Actually, it smells a little bit like mushrooms. I wonder if I had some sort of mushroom growing in here or something in here. So you can tell that this is all like white and sort of definitely. All right, I'm past that section now with that has something growing in it. I'm not feeling that in other sections. It does feel very warm here. I'm going to just do another temperature sensor here. It's definitely a little bit warmer. It's not as warm as I think it was. It feels like it's much warmer. Maybe it's just my hands are kind of cold. Yeah, it's 65. So as we get down to 66 now, so as we get down a little bit lower, it's actually warming up. 67. I don't know if you can see that on there, but it's 60. It was sitting 67 at one point in one of the sections down here. So as we get down here, it's warming up even more. I'm still feeling some root system stuff. Still more worms. Lots of worms in here. Definitely feels like something was growing in here. You can see that there's these little root systems here that are growing. So something's growing in here. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's maybe something I threw in here like potatoes or what. Let's just see. I'm gonna try to go down here a little bit lower. Really looks like good fertilizer down here. I mean, this looks like really good castings. Kind of crumbly. Still more worms down in here. So we're not going to go down too far because we are going to harvest, and we're just going to harvest a little bit. But that's what it's looking like right now. This is very dry up top. I'm going to have to moisten it down. But you know, around down here, so we have a lot more space to go in here. This feels like a much larger bin than my than the urban worm bag I had. This is an apple that I threw in here. It was a rotten apple that was in the bag that I bought. So like this feels really good over here. And look at this. Look at all these worms in here. I mean, there's tons of them. This feels nice and crumbly. And this should be able to go through a sifter, no problem, probably, to sort out the worms. So it is making some nice compost in here. So we're gonna go to the bottom here. We're gonna empty this out. I'm gonna water it. I'm gonna put some more food in. And we're going to keep this thing going. It's overall, it's doing a pretty good job. The question is how does this harvest? I did my urban worm bag, the version 1, not 2. The version 2 has some new changes to it, which we will show in another video at some point. But this is the version. This is the Vermibag Max. Sorry, the urban worm bag I did was version 1. So this one has an extra layer of stuff on the inside of the harvesting area, which I'll show you in just a minute here. So let's go underneath and take a look. All right, so we're underneath here, and as you can see, there's a zipper running around here. It's all the way in the back here, so I'm just gonna, this thing weighs a lot, by the way, and it's very solidly packed down here, so I probably should have harvested this a little bit earlier. All right, sorry about being in the way here. No problem unzipping it, really, as long as you're going in the right direction. So let's just see here how this thing looks. Give me just a second here. All right, this is really stuck together here, as you can see, and we're gonna have to try to get this apart and start harvesting it. So I have my what is this, a cement mixing tub here? Lots of paper in the bottom here. This is really compacted down here. As I should have done with my earlier bin, you know, the urban worm bag, I really should have harvested this earlier before it came like this. Unfortunately, I just didn't have the time. Look at it though. After the, we're already getting out some nice compost here. Actually, there's a piece of metal, looks like. That's not from the bin. That's from my shredding stuff. So, all right. And I'm getting a lot of roots here. Something's growing in here. I don't know what it is. But like you can see right here, this is a string of roots. Something was growing in here like crazy. And I don't know what it was. I don't know what came in here that started growing like this. Let's just see if we can get some of this down here. And I'm really jabbing my thumb up in there to get some of this. I'm not seeing any worms in here so far. There's another piece of paper that did not decompose. I don't know what that paper is from, but whatever it is, it's not something I should be throwing in my bins. So what I'm doing in here is I'm just reaching up, trying to pull stuff down. A lot of this stuff looks pretty well composted, except for the stuff that I don't know what this one type of root is that's growing in here. And I'm not sure what else is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of punch the bag here a little bit, loosen some stuff up. Oop. Hopefully not break something that was sitting on the top. All right, we're getting a little bit further in here. I saw some worms come down this time. There's a worm right there on my hand. So we are getting some worms here, some more of that root system. I mean, look at this. This is a very extensive root system, whatever was growing in here. It does sort of have like a mushroomy smell to me, and I'm starting to get some worms here. So we're going to try to get more from the side here. I'm not going up, by the way. What I'm doing is I'm coming in the bin, I'm going around the side this way and then that way to try to get stuff out. There's another worm. Nice healthy worms though in here. There's nice big healthy worms. These are red wrigglers. These are not, you know, a European nightcrawler or anything like that, so they're not usually huge, but those look, I mean, these look really big and healthy. So let me spread this out a little bit more. I mean, that to me looks like a pretty healthy worm right there. Good size. Good coloring. I have to say, once I dig my fingers into this, it's kind of crumbling apart. So like this is a big chunk right here, but once you start moving it around a little bit, it just crumbles to pieces, which is great. I mean, it's a nice consistency. Some more worms. Not too many down here. Here's a little baby over here. So here's a baby worm right there at the tip of my finger. I'm not seeing any cocoons down here, but they might be further up. More uncomposted material. I don't know what this paper is that did not break down at all, but say that, or we're starting to get some stuff maybe that didn't break down. All right, so we're starting to get, this is starting to get, I think, further up than we should probably go. I'm just trying to break apart this one side on the other side here, so. So not as much material that I'm harvesting out of this bin as I did my urban worm bag, but it hasn't been going as long. And for a while I didn't realize that I really needed to wet this a lot more than I did with the other, my urban worm bag. So I get a little bit more out before I close this up. Okay, yeah, now we're starting to get some undigested food in here. So like this right here, this is, I'm going to throw this right back in the top. And I think we're going to stop this for now. It's worked pretty well. Just anything that's stuck up in here, let me get all this stuff out. So what I'm doing is just scraping this flap here on the inside to try to get anything else out that might be in there. You know, I just don't want to make sure that flap can move around nice and readily. So I know that some of the paper and cardboard was pushed against it, and that probably didn't compost all that much. So oh, here's a banana peel. So some of the food in here is a little bit undigested compared to the urban worm bag, where I felt everything was sort of digested. Oh, well, it looks like, I don't know if that's a piece of the bag that came off, or I think that's just something that took the shape of the bag. Just trying to get a little bit more here. All right, I think that's good. I'm going to throw this big banana peel piece back in the top here. So this is what we got out of the bin. A lot of it looks really good. Some of it obviously not composted fully, like this paper here, which I'm going to throw back in the top. But that happens. I mean, especially when you're starting these flow-through systems, which, I mean, I had this with my 35-gallon trash can bin that I made, which is a flow-through. And, you know, when you first start this, you start getting out a lot of paper and stuff like that, but eventually it all starts working itself through. So like this right here, I'm going to throw back in the top. You know, so these big chunks I'm going to throw back in probably, like that right there. This right here is a huge chunk of paper, so I'm going to throw that back in the top. You know, we're just going to throw some of these back in the top. They're going to break down. They're going to come back out the bottom later. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to zip this back up. I'm going to use my clean hand for that, I think. This actually harvested pretty well. No issues unzipping it. Even with all the weight in here, I mean, there's a ton of weight. So, as you can see, I'm zipping this back up. It is zipped all the way in the back there. This is now empty. So what's going to happen is this is going to collapse back down. As it fills back up, it's going to collapse right back down into the bottom here. So, you know, again, I'm going to load this up with some more food. I'm really going to wet it down. I think it was a little bit too dry on top. I don't know what this root system is that's growing in here, but you know, this is really good compost that's coming out of this. I'm very impressed. It's a little bit more crumbly than I felt than out of the urban worm bag, probably because it's a little bit drier. But I mean, this is great material to throw in the yard and in your garden. Some stuff that didn't digest down fully by the worms, but that happens. I mean, as I said, especially when you're starting these things up, you get a lot of stuff that's just not fully composted in the first time. So overall, pretty good. Decent haul, not too much. Here's some more stuff. I'm just trying to slowly go through this and pick out some of the huge pieces, huge chunks of paper and stuff that's just not digested. Oh, I don't know what this, here we go. This is a good example of this root system. So it looks like something was growing in here and growing a root system. I don't know what that was. I don't know if that's some sort of fungus. I'm going to put it back in the top there. We'll just let it keep growing. If not, the worms will digest it. And this just crumbles right apart. If this went through a sifter and kind of broke down a little bit more, it'd be even better, right? I'm going to throw this big chunk of paper in the top again. So a little bit lighter of a harvest than my urban worm bag, but overall, I'm fairly impressed. I really think this worked well. I'd highly recommend these bag systems. I think they work pretty well. I'm going to be setting up shortly the urban worm bag version 2, but this Vermibag system worked really well. So these big chunks like this, they were on the bottom here, just so everyone knows. And that's the part that's not going to get worked. They get all this weight on the bottom, and there's no worms down there, and all the food's on top, so they just don't get worked, and they come out the bottom. You throw this back in the top, they'll get worked this next time. And as you keep going through this, you're going to get more and better vermicompost, which is out of my 35-gallon bin. When I harvest that now, and maybe I should do a video on that soon, it is pretty much all castings. I mean, there's nothing in it anymore because it's all worked its way through the system now. Anything that's didn't break down was thrown in the top, and there was another layer of stuff in the bottom, and it just slowly gets better and better and better. So that's my update for this, and that's our harvest of the Vermibag Max. Now this is the large one. I'm going to just pick this up here real quick. This is the large one here. So, you know, and I don't think it's as largest anymore, but this is the large one. This isn't the small one. So I do have the small one, which I have right here. And I have not harvested this one yet. I found that this one is really hard to keep going because of the water moisture, but you know, you just need a lot more moisture in there. This one, though, hey, I've had a lot of success with. So, and as you can see from the castings that we got, actually, let me see if I can pull those out and bring them up here. So I'm going to just bring everybody down here. A little bit hard to do this one-handed, just so you can get a better idea of how much castings are in here. Hold on here. I'm just going to put this camera down. I'm going to move this up, and I'll bring you right back up. All right, so here we go. These are all the castings that we got out of here. So we filled up a portion of this tray. A little bit better lighting up here. That's why I wanted to bring it up. Still some more paper. This root system stuff. But it's pretty... This is pretty well composted, especially for something that probably I used a little bit lighter than the urban worm bag, which I was throwing a little bit more stuff in. I don't know what these roots are, though. But I'm still just going to throw those back in the bin. I figure if they're ripped them apart, they're probably going to be dead and just decompose in there and get eaten again by the worms. So, but yeah, this is really good crumbly material. I mean, everything in here just kind of crumbles right apart. No excess, you know, moisture as far as like it's not wet and soaking wet where it's hard to get anything. Even this paper material, like where there's a lot of paper, it still just kind of flakes apart. So that's my update. I'm going to now add some food to the bin and keep it going here. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much.